is Nokia. Not only because they invented one of the most iconic games in the world, but because they gave the world one of the most useful tools to communicate and do a lot of cool and productive stuff directly from the palm of our hands. However, what I found really interesting was how they managed to get to this point in the first place. In the beginning, they were not even making phones, but paper, and that's what they did for a lot of years. Until one day, one of the co-founders decided to produce electricity by using the river near to where the company was located. And everything was pretty still until things started to change in 1918. Finland had just become its own independent country after being part of Russia. But there were big disagreements about how the country should be run. During this period of conflict, Nokia was losing customers and money, facing near bankruptcy, but fortunately, another company by the name of Finnish Rubber Works found Nokia, and then decided to acquire it, saving it from the brink of collapsing. Though this is not the point where they exploded as a company. Now, they were making a lot of stuff together, and were not actually focused on a main product, but one thing captured their attention: telecommunications. This is because this niche at the time was still pretty new and had some limitations that we don't have today. So in 1979, Nokia teamed up with an electronics company called Celora. They aimed to connect people with a single device without being chained to a location every time. But the real problem was how. The technology at the time was much larger. Batteries weren't as powerful as today, and there was a need for a network that connected everything, so they kept working on a solution for several years until 1982, when the first model of Mobira Senator was released. It was not even close to what we have today. But at least people were now finally free to communicate everywhere, and was also the first time in history you could use your phone without being bound somewhere. However, at this point, they had the technology, they just had to make it better. Over the years, their technology kept evolving. Phones were getting more and more efficient, and the release of their first Symbian OS phone revolutionized the entire industry. By 2002, out of all the mobile phones sold worldwide, roughly 30% of them were made by Nokia. But while they were dominating the mobile phone market, another tech giant was quietly brewing a revolution in the background. In 2007, a company that had initially gained fame for its computers and music players decided to step into the magic world of mobile technology, launching their first mobile phone, the iPhone. Though Nokia seemed to not care at all, they were too busy enjoying their 30% market share and firmly believed their devices would easily surpass this new competitor. After all, why change a winning formula? On the other hand, iOS, with its vast number of applications, was changing the entire industry. Additionally, Android was gaining popularity and was even acquired by Google. On August 14, 2007, they had to warn their customers that 46 million devices had faulty batteries. After this immense loss, they desperately tried to reclaim their reputation, so in June 2009, they launched the N97, which they called the iPhone killer. And to be honest, it actually had all the characteristics that the phones of that era had, but there was a glaring issue that Nokia hadn't yet grasped. The root of their problems was lying in the operating system. They persisted in offering a similar product, but never actually improved the core functionality. They tried to stage a comeback with Microsoft, going all in with Windows Phone for their Lumia lineup. But let's be real, the damage was already done. Then finally, 2014 hit and it was game over. Microsoft swooped in, grabbed Nokia's Devices and Services division, and that was the end of the Nokia phone saga. In 2014, Nokia's Devices and Services division was sold to Microsoft, marking the end of an era for the once dominant mobile phone manufacturer.